Okay, folks, happy Wednesday. Let's do it. I check on, okay, good. We've got the camera not mirror imaged. Welcome back. We're going to see if we can't further finish some of these vehicles, the last two vehicles. And it's interesting that the inside of the wheel well is still blue on here. Well, it's not really that noticeable. For just for good measure, I'm going to go ahead and paint that black so we don't have to worry about it. Let's lose the jewelry. So one thing is you like everything to be primed, you like everything to be sealed. If somehow you forget something, hey, Mr. Barnes, if you forget to seal something, it's probably in a place. And Glenn, if you forget to seal something or prime it, it's probably in a place that's not going to get handled, which means it's okay. It's not something you're going to be able to get to and be warm. So don't freak out about it. You just go back and repaint it. It's not that big of a deal. Not that big of a deal. Let's get some light over here. And let's just cover these wheel wells in black, and then we'll go ahead and glue the wheels on there. Mr. Ben, welcome. Man, you were a night owl, Ben. Of course, I was a night owl too in my 20s. I want to say in my 20s, especially my early 20s. Especially in my early 20s. And you're like, it's not worth it. It's just going to mess up my entire week. Let me take a look at this thing. No, that one's okay. All right, let's put this black away. Yesterday, I wanted to go on paint yesterday, but I didn't get a chance till maybe like 9:15. I'm like, that's just too late to start. By the time I get everybody here, I gotta leave. I had to get up super early the day before at 4 a.m. I need to be at work at 6, so I'm not one to get up and go to work. I need to have breakfast, etc. We'll go ahead and I guess I can paint the rims on these. I want to go kind of subtle with it because they're technically it's not the rims. Calling these hubs or wheels rims is equivalent to calling a magazine a clip. It's the same kind of sin. Even though people do it all the time. But these are not contemporary wheels. These are like modern wheels. So I don't want to draw too much attention to them. And I also don't want to replace them. There's a guy, and I'm trying to think at what point I saw him. Oh, it's a guy that does stuff for Gaslands. And he does like a bunch of wheel sets or whatever. And I'm like, that's a little too retentive for me. You end up paying more for the wheels than you do for the actual vehicle. It gives me flashbacks of when I built my 1/35th scale Panther D. I wanted to do a Panther that was at Kursk, and I bought the old Tamiya 1/35th scale Panther, and then I bought a resin set. This is like, I don't know, 1991 or something like that. 1991, 1992, 93, something like that. And I bought the wheels cost more than the tank. You know, it was wheels, and I think it was a separate turret because there's a lot of differences in the turret. You got different cupola. You got a pistol ports in it. You got a hatchet you can spit out shell casings in it. I'm spending more for that than the actual Tamiya model, or Tamiya as we used to call it, even though we called it wrong, probably. Looks like this black already dried. Okay. Let's put this upside down. Of course, we're not going to be able to base this just yet because we've got to seal this. Is this the front? And then this is the back? Okay. That's how it is. And this is the one that actually has the screws. It has screws, the way to screw this thing down. And I was probably a slacker and didn't put the screws here where they should be. So I probably don't have them. I'll just epoxy the thing down. I don't give a shit. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to take this thing apart again. All right, let's mix up some epoxy. And grab a piece of card that's already been abused. I feel like there's some new news I need to tell you guys, and not anything super exciting, or it'd be the first thing I'd want to think of, but I got my games together that I'm going to trade for Noble Knight, but they sent me the quote back, and one of the games is they put the wrong one down. So I want to get that. I don't want to get any surprises like, oh, okay, well, we actually told you it was the wrong game and it's worth less. But there's some stuff that I had a long time. Ben, you mentioned that some of those Phoenix Command things were worth quite a few quid. And, considering what they are. And you're right, one of them was like, they were going to give me $14 for it. So that's pretty good. Considering I'm never going to use those. I'd gotten those for many, many years ago before the internet to use as data for some of the weapons when I was making my own game. And so I was before 2002 when the Face of Battle came out. We're making up our own game. And, we didn't have had no idea the internet was going to be the way it is. Let's just glue the thing in. And glue that thing in as well. We don't need these things turning. You guys talk about, hey Marcus, you guys talk about this hobby with any coworkers? Oh, you're just like, man, I better not tell people about this. They're going to think I'm strange. I'm just tired of explaining it to people. I don't really talk about it. Today's society is supposed to be accepting of everything, or is gaming too normal and not weird enough to accept? As long as the money you get for them is spent on something it doesn't sit on a shelf, then it's a win. My thoughts exactly. Absolutely, Ben. Yep. I'm going to spend it on something that I have proven to be working on. So, you do. You just show them pictures. Yeah. First thing, people, why are you playing historical war games? Don't you know how it's going to turn out? Well, you don't understand that. Why play a Monopoly? You already know who's going to win. You already know how it turned out, right? It's same kind of thing. Oh, it's like that. He uses dice? Is there gambling? No! Oh, look at this piece of shit thing. This thing just broke. Snapped right here. China's finest. See ya. You know what? The bristles on this are pretty good. Let's not be a cheapskate. Bye-bye. Now, where is... I was explaining... It was somebody last year, just before we went to... I think the last Historicon or something like that. I was explaining, well, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Pennsylvania. Oh, and this wasn't... I don't think this is a coworker. I think all my coworkers know. But this is somebody that's... they were a vendor or something like that. I'm like, it's a guy's trip. Are you guys going to go hunting? Yeah, we might. I just left it at that. Like, I don't want to explain stuff to... You know, after a while, one of the things that I don't... I get tired of explaining things to people, especially folks that aren't going to be around. You're gonna explain something and spend a lot of effort with someone you're never going to see again. Because they're just passing through or whatever. Like that's, just because you don't value my time doesn't mean I don't value my time. I don't want to talk about this again. I remember when I was 13 or 14 years old, my sister did not want to take. She was she didn't live with us. She moved out before I was born. She's significantly older than I am. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go see Dune," and I'm like, "I gotta go see that." "Oh, you won't understand it. You won't understand Dune." So I never got to see it. Okay, well, you're never gonna understand war games. I don't want to explain it to you. And people that don't understand this hobby, they come to some strange conclusions. I don't mean any kind of like deviant strange. I just mean like, oh, there's dice, so there's gambling. No, there's no gambling. But you can play a tournament, and win an award. Oh, how much is that worth? It's not worth anything. It's just some stupid thing you put on a wall. You had a good time, like a participation award. Except you don't get one to participate. You got to freaking win. Or do you paint? Oh, do you paint for people? No, there's no money in that. People always jump to gambling. Are there that many people that gamble in the world? Speaking of brushes, last year when I was working on my bathroom sink, I found a brush down the drain. No idea how it got there, other than maybe I was a kid. When you were a kid, you dropped it. You live in your home. that you grew up in, man, you live in the old country. You could there's all no telling what you guys can find. Cannonball, musket balls. I don't know. I was I was talking to somebody. Just came from an event, and I was talking to somebody who just traveled to Europe, and they said that they had a great time going to Scotland and Ireland. And the very first thing I asked them, when I think of traveling to Scotland, I know Ben, you're very near that, but the very first thing I think of is the question is, how bad is the food? Because I have this idea that it is just a nightmare. And he said it was really good, and I'm like, I'm prepared to drink scotch the whole time to get all my nutrition from scotch if I go to Scotland. I don't know. I just have this idea that maybe it's misplaced. You know, the perception that people in the United States have about Scottish food is not a good one. But you know, you guys might have the same impression with American beer, and not everything is Bud Light. I'm going to try to get to Storicon this year. It's only about 45 minutes from me. This is the first year I'm not going. That it's being held in July, since I knew about it. So I went in 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. COVID, we're not having it. Didn't go in 20. 21, they moved it to November, which is a no-no. I went last year, and I'm not going this year. Not going this year. And I'm not super interested in going as much as I used to be. That doesn't mean I'm not going to go again. I don't have the reasons to go to it that I used to have the reasons to go to it before. I'm never going to play in a tournament game. I'm pretty certain I'm never going to play in another tournament game. And not necessarily because I had a bad experience with it, but I don't need to go to shop. That's a dumb idea. You spend $600 to buy $100 worth of stuff, because I've got pretty good control. I'm not buying several $100s worth of stuff. So, and vacation time is just really limited. Really, really limited. Not only is it really limited, it's a pain in the ass to take off. Because I'm asking for an ass whooping before I go of work, and then an ass whooping worth of work fixing when I get back. And that's only for 4 days. So it's bad enough when you leave for 1 day. I just work in a field that people can't make up their mind about anything. And yet somehow I have to try to plan ahead. So it's a mess. So it's got to be a damn good reason to take a day off, as far as I'm concerned. Because I'm creating a shitload of work for myself. And part of me has noticed that the convention circuit, that a lot of people don't make it a priority to go to conventions anymore. Maybe they never did. And why am I killing myself to put on events if people don't want to? I can take off whenever I want, but I don't get paid. Yeah, I'd rather that was the arrangement. I can take off whenever I want too. I just have to do everything in advance and fix it when I get back. So, like, I've gone on a cruise before, like for a week. We usually cruise, take a week off. The week before the cruise is a nightmare. And I've come back on a Sunday and gone into work for like freaking 9 hours. Just talking to myself, just sorting just trying to reconcile everything that happened so that you can hit the ground running on the Monday. Because if you don't do that, you're trying to reconcile at the same time that new problems are arriving. So, or I could just have an I don't care attitude and you get it when you get it, but that doesn't really work. So, okay, this thing is glued down. We're going to have to do a few things on there. Let's see what status this thing's in. We're not going to be able to finish this until we seal it. So we got the bumper and stuff to do. Look, what do we have left to do on this thing? This has got the inside that we're just going to just do that in brown. Just some kind of brown shit like that. And then this will fit in here somehow, like that. Okay, perfect. I don't know where the hell the headlights for this thing are. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Let's go ahead and do the, let's go ahead and paint the bumper for this thing so we got that down. I had an interesting comment that happened to me. I want to say last week at work. I don't like talking about work. I'm not defined by what I do for a living. I actually don't understand people that are, but it doesn't mean I don't want to do a good job while I'm there. But I don't think about the place when I'm not there. That's what keeps me from going insane, I think. But anyhow, this guy I hadn't seen in a long time. He was a truck driver. And he goes, "Oh, I see you're still, I thought you would have moved up. You're still doing the same thing." Because I've kind of been doing what I've been doing for almost 30 years, for the most part. Doing a lot more of it because we're a lot busier. And I'm like, well, you're still a stupid fucking truck driver. So I literally told him that. I'm like, you can take more things on, but it just comes with more problems, and it just depends on what kind of a place you work at. If you work at a place where you take more things on, and it just brings you more problems, and all of a sudden you have to deal with things you wouldn't normally have to deal with, and makes you even more frustrated to the point you're going to quit, that doesn't really benefit anybody, And I'm not saying I want to be a grunt, but I also don't want to be, running the whole show. Because if you're running the whole show, every day is a bad day. I mean, there's always something that happens. Somebody gets hurt. The government comes and does an inspection on you. And so on and so on and so on and so on. It's like, there's never a good day. So it's hard enough for me to take off vacation now. I don't want to do anything to make it even more difficult to take off. And I don't get that many days of vacation. I really don't. But if I got more days of vacation, it would just be more hell, because I can't just walk away from it. So. But I learned from other people. I've seen other people that, I've been there long enough before cell phones. So I noticed when cell phones started coming out, people started doing stuff on their cell phone, work-related stuff on their cell phone while they're not at work. And I don't want to get into that. I use my cell phone as for me. It's not for, work. They don't pay for it. The problem with it isn't that I don't want to do work stuff on on my own time. The problem is my job is extremely inflexible. It's very difficult to take off and it's like go to the doctor even when I need to. So if it's going to be really inflexible, then and I've got to be there, a certain amount of time. I'm not one of these I can work from home type of people. Then I'm not going to open up that can of worms because I don't see where it benefits you any. Also, if you got people who are your customers, and everybody's got customers, they just might be, the public or contractors or whoever it is that you have that is your customer at work. And if you make yourself too easily available, most people aren't planners. So what's going to happen is they're going to, now all of a sudden they have a crutch to call you at the last minute when you've already done what you needed to do, because whatever place you work at, you're going to have to do some amount of planning, right? You can't just wing it the whole time. So they're basically going to throw the planning that you have to do out the window because they're not going to be able to plan. They're going to decide not to plan because they can call you at the last minute and change their mind about whatever it is that they're doing. And if you make yourself too available, then they know they can get a hold of you and cancel something, and then you've got somehow to react. I don't need that in my life. So I saw other people that happening to them, and I kind of had the foresight of, I'm not doing this. Now, there's some other people that are like, well, I have to do that because of this, that, and the other. I get that. But you probably have a more flexible job than I do. Can you go home whenever the hell you want to when your job's over with? Yes. Well, I can't. So. And again, it has nothing to do with not wanting to do a good job. That's quite the contrary, but you don't need to get burned out and, over that. I saw it happen in other people. I'm like, I don't want to check my work email from my phone. I don't want to. What is that going to solve? It's going to make it easier for some guy that can't plan to change his mind, and then you still have to have things done at a certain time in the morning, and all of a sudden you're behind the gun and you've done nothing wrong. As I'm a big planner. I'm good at planning stuff at work, So, just like all those folks that are crying, oh, I don't want to work from home anymore. Well, you got zero sympathy from me, pal. I would love to work from home one day in my life, ever. Let's see what it's like to be, I'm not wearing this and working. Yes, I have pants on, shorts, but wearing whatever you want, being comfortable and doing work. Have your workspace at whatever temperature you damn well please. Anyhow. And you get back to it. No, I'm not going to store comments here. Supposed to go on a big trip at the end of the year. I don't want to talk about it too much because then I feel like I got to give explanations why I'm not on that trip if it doesn't happen. I fully expect something to go sideways in this new post-COVID-19 world we live in. Well, we'll see. It'll be great if I get to go. But I kind of have this new thing that's happened in the last last year for sure, and maybe started even earlier than that. That if things are just too much of a pain in the ass, I just don't even want to do them. I don't even want to attempt doing them if they're going to be too much of a pain in the ass. Unless it's something you have to do. If it's optional, I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to learn a new rule set of war games. I don't want to. Doesn't mean I want to make my own rules up. I'm just saying that, I'm burned up. I'm tired of looking for stuff. You know, somebody commented like, "Hey, when are you going to play Gaslands again?" I don't want to look through the rule book and figure it out. I've looked through the rule book and there's things that don't freaking make sense in it as well. I don't want that. I don't want to do that anymore. You know, I want to do what I'm doing here. I don't mind playing other games. I just don't want to be your go-to guy to try to figure shit out. Let somebody who's trying to prove themselves or somebody who's retired do that. Retired people won't have enough on their plate. Let them do that. I got enough in me to learn one rule set. That's this one. I got to relearn it. Face of battle. That's it. That's where I'm drawing the line. I'm not doing anything else. And it's not that I don't want to play by the rules, but let there be a GM and I can just ask the question instead of looking for the answer page after page after page, then coming up with an answer that may be correct, only to find out that 2 weeks later or a week later that some smart aleck, then they got the answer. Oh, you did this wrong. I don't want to do that shit no more. It's really unsatisfying. And this last convention I went to, I realized I don't want to put on games at conventions. I don't want to get stuck and having to deal with somebody for 4 hours. That is pain in the more than a pain in the ass. Just a bad attitude in the game, and just because they signed up for it. And Mitch was running a game the other day. He was still running a game I used to play for 19 years. He's playing some battle, and there's 2 people playing his game that I don't ever want to play a game with again. I've played with them before. They're a pain in the ass. I'll tell them to their face if I have to. I'd rather not, but I'm just saying, I don't want to play a game where people are miserable. Those kind of people that if they won the lottery and they got a suitcase full of money, they'd bitch because the bills weren't facing the right direction. Those kind of people. I don't need those people in your life. Send them off in outer space somewhere. I'm not putting a ton of effort into this. There's no point in detailing all this stuff in here and then just cover it up where you can't see it. Now, you can see if it's not painted. You can see that. You guys ever play? I'm sure you have. It's a rhetorical question. Play a game where you'd rather not play the game than deal with some of the people that are going to show up to it. Okay, this goes inside here. And then this one goes like this. Yeah, so one time I was playing solo. You don't want to play with that guy anymore, huh? I think this goes in here like this. I took the thing out. I really don't, would not, I'd rather not chip up a bunch of paint. Let's put this in first. See if that's what the thing is. That settles it. I'm not putting it in. F it. I don't care about this hood being openable. You know, when I first started playing tournament games, one of the first things that floored me, it said, "Oh, you can't run the tournament if you're going to play." I'm like, you got to be kidding me. First of all, I've always played. Second of all, if you're not going to let the guy who puts on the tournament, who gives the awards out and everything to play, what's in it for him to even run the tournament? You know, okay, you freaking do it. Let the game die then. You know, if you playing in a tournament, you playing in an event is going to skew rules. Man, you need to do something with yourself. I think some slight unfriendly pig killed one of the local game stores. Killed the whole store? Oh man. A new dude took over, and apparently he just had his chums in, and the next thing I hear is the lease wasn't renewed. Wow. Well, could happen. There's all kinds. When I first started gaming, I was in my late teens, early 20s. The local group that got together at the local hobby store, there was a couple people that liked to argue. Nothing terrible, but just they was just arguing types. What, you couldn't make it to, you couldn't pass the bar? You know, there's some people like that, and you know, and they're just not converting anybody. So you know, it's not worth my time. Okay, where does this? Okay, I think we need to put the gluey parts there. Thing is, there's another store literally 30 seconds walk away. They're booming now. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's your local store, huh? We got a store that opened up here that has a lot of paint if I need it. But man, there's some freaks there. And you know, I didn't even step in the store and there was already freaks hanging out outside. I'm like, man, why do people gotta be so weird? I get that, you know, nerdy and stuff like that. I get it, you know, but why do people that play games not wear deodorant? It can't be just gamer people. Okay, you can't just go in. I can't stand going to a gamer's house. They got fucking trash everywhere in their house. That can't be just gamers. There's got to be a significant amount of the population that live basically in uncivilized situation. It's got to be. It can't just be like, okay, well, if you're into sports, you're all right. Your house is all, picked up and everything. But if you play games, oh man, you got pizza boxes that are 20 years old in there. You never throw away. Mr. Skylab, welcome back. It's the Flying Elvises, Utah chapter. Okay, let's put this thing back together here. What's that bloody engine? All right, I don't really want this thing like continuing to open. Yeah, just like when I went to Complete Strategist in New York there, Marcus. In New York, you walk into a gamer store and people are extra weird. Extra weird like, okay, you're nerdy. I get it. You're into intelligent stuff, whatever. All right, but why are you dressed like a unicorn? You know? People are still skiing out here in Utah. Tons of snow still in the mountains. That's awesome. Well, I mean, if you're into that, that Neckbeardia channel is great for gaming store horror stories. Some places just attract the genetic dribbles. Neckbeardia? That's just disturbing. I came back from Historicon one year and I'm like, I'm not gonna shave. I grew a beard for like, I want to say a month or two. It's a pain in the ass to have to shave your beard every day. Your neck every day. So this Neckbeardia reminded me of that. I'm like, nah, I gotta be clean shaven, man. I don't have a good personality to fall back on. Neckbeardia. Is that a real channel? Neckbeardia. All right, homework assignment time. I watched some game channels. I've been watching them. I'll be like, hey, I wonder if this game's any good. And I don't want to write on this. We'll write it here. Neckbeardia. There's a freaking. You know what's an insult? Somebody created a freaking Nerd Burglar channel. There's a channel called Nerd Burglars. God bless it, I invented that freaking term. That was mine. Take that. Steal my thunder, damn it. Neckbeardia. Wow. Space Mutants at game stores. No, they're from here. Hey, Nordic. They're from here. You just need some good old-fashioned high school You need some good old-fashioned early 1980s high school shunning. I'm supposed to know you started that channel. Yeah, somebody has a freaking... back in the late Back in the late 90s, a buddy and mine and I were coming up with our own rule set for skirmish, World War II. That is pretty much not going to happen. Super anal retentive, but it's, a one man, one scale. And it was close enough to this face of battle that I just took that and ran with it. It was good enough because I wasn't going to be able to ever create anything for it. Not for marketing. I didn't want to sell it. I just wanted something to play. But I had to give it a name. So, I named it the name that I named it, and then 2 years later, somebody published a game that has the same name. I'm like, you mother, you stupid, all the freaking names you could come up with, and you steal my name. It's just, irony and coincidences. Yeah, I don't know that I ever heard anybody use that term. Space moons, yeah. Yeah, when you were in a store in New York and you seem like a very strange person, yeah, that's saying something. Why are you dressed like a unicorn? Something. Something like that. Like that cosplay stuff. That's cool if you're into that. Man, that's some weird shit, man. How do you explain that to people? Grown ass man that likes to dress up and I guess a lot of people are into that anime and shit like that, but used to be a lot of that stuff you couldn't do way back then because, you'd never go on a date. Now with the internet, you can find anybody. You can find the strangest cat, and you can find people that are too strange for him. Yeah, see, normally, if this is going to be spray painted, you're probably going to leave the bumper spray painted as well. But it's an opportunity to add something give something a little bit of flavor. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the bumper. Well, we're going to paint it black so that we can end up painting it, metallic of some sort or the other. Women doing cosplay is the good stuff, but man, well, sometimes it's really good, but the bad gut hanging. You just got to look like the character. You got to be realistic, you know. Everybody that does most of the people that do the cosplay end up looking. The only thing they should be able to cosplay is, oh man, what's her name? Shit. I got to look this up. This is gonna drive me crazy. Ellie. The only thing that they're fit to cosplay is Ellie from Gaslands. Look that up. Not Gaslands, Borderlands. Ellie from Borderlands. There's this one movie that does cosplay as Sister of Battle. She's all kinds of hot. Well, they're probably really weird on the inside. Maybe you're into that. It's fine as you're a consenting adult. You can do whatever you want as long as you're not making me watch. Sister Battle. What the hell, Sister Battle? Some Warhammer 40k thing? Space Battle Nuns. That's what it sounds like. You know, except they're really promiscuous, probably. Nuns that are really promiscuous. And then they should be called sums or lots. Nuns that put out are actually called lots. We'll do the front bumper too. I think it looks better. It's not going to be like polished chrome or anything, but it's 40k and no, they're not what you think. Oh, you don't think that would work? Battle nuns? Battle nuns that are promiscuous. Man, it's loud. Went somewhere today and my wife goes, make sure you turn your ringer off. I never have. You just realized I have shorts and no socks on. Is this an accidental Mitch cosplay? No, I don't have socks on, but I'm inside my house. I'm not in a freaking trailer outside my house where I gotta walk across dirt. That's the difference. There's nothing wrong with not wearing shoes, okay? As long as you're in an environment where your feet aren't getting nasty by you not wearing shoes, okay? You sent me a link. You want me to look at it and comment on it? Maybe I shouldn't, because I'm brutally honest sometimes. And as I get older, I care less. I'm kind of proud of the fact that I have no filter sometimes. Look, I work in a construction type environment. So I come home, like, I don't wear shoes in the house. Because, you get dust. Your house gets stuff in it. And you don't have pets, just from dust and stuff like that. So, you don't want to be around that. There's shorts and no socks on. I hate wearing socks unless I'm wearing shoes. Yeah. I like it when you have to wear them to keep your feet warm. Because I love my feet being cold. But yeah, that's the whole thing. If it's inside your house, right? The pool deck, the beach, that's it. Take a look at her. She does other cosplay. Cosplay. All right. It is a girl, isn't it? Let's see here. Isn't the internet grand? Let's see here. Come on. Imgur. What the hell does Imgur even stand for? I've been on there before, but I think mainly for... Let's see. Well, I knew she was going to be blonde or Asian. That was a given, knowing you. Let's see. Sister Battle. What are they supposed to be? Like Valkyries or something like that? Yeah, well, the armor looks really good. She made that herself or whatever. I bet it can't protect worth a damn, but man, this thing runs slow. Oh, she's got a cute face. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Looks like something out of, I don't know what it looks like. Something out of Diablo, whatever. All right. Yeah, she did a good job, like shading that, shading the armor. Get the fleur de lis thing going. Yeah, she's got a cute face. I'm a face person. I don't want to look at somebody it's hard to look at in the face. Oh man, let's see here. What we got? What we got? What we got? Boom, boom. The female space marines. Why the feathers? It stands for Imgur. I hope she is. Oh man. All right, let's see here. Hubcap time. Hubcap. And man, acrylic paint just dries so damn fast. Didn't catch what you said. Repeat if you would, please. Oh, Imgur stands for Imgur. I don't know. I say lots of things. Right, chaps. Have to go lay down. I might comment off my phone account unless you crash out. Okay. 2 different accounts, huh? Well, that's fine. You got your reasons. I don't. The phone is really good for a lot of stuff. I think it is really good to look for like programming. Like if you're looking for, like say you're trying to watch something on. Are these the super close ones? They're not. Yeah, we need those. The more closer ones. If you're looking to watch something on Netflix, it stands for Imgur. Yeah. What is that, like a hidden joke or something? Because if it is, I don't know that acronym. There's all kinds of acronyms that people use these days that I don't have a clue what the hell they're talking about. You know, abbreviations that shouldn't be abbreviated. You know, you don't need to abbreviate the month of June. It's only an extra letter. You know. You prime 24 artillery crew and 11 cannons. One broke and I can't get the glue to work right to fix it. Throw it away. Don't buy more. You doing Union or Confederates, or I guess you could probably use the cannon crew for either one. Oh, that's a nice grill. Oh, that's a nice looking grill. Let's see if we can. There you go. That looks pretty close to what I'm seeing. Giving the Union 6 cannons and the Confederate 5 cannons. Actually, wouldn't a better proportion be like 7 and 4? Just saying. I don't know. Yes, I have played Civil War games, but it was in the 1980s. And the Confederates always seemed to be out-cannoned almost 2-1. Obviously, it depends on what battle, but. Never enjoyed playing the Union much. Can't do funny accents. You know, if you're playing, what's a funny accent for Union? Somebody from Brooklyn? I don't think Brooklyn had been invented yet in the 1860s. Hey, you talking to me? Yeah, go put it down your musket hole. Mr. Eric, welcome back. Put it in your musket hole. Gettysburg, the Union had 360, Confederates had 270. How'd that work out for them? That actually doesn't seem like a lot of cannons. They didn't have a lot of cannons for a number of men. Battle would have been different had the July 3rd battle plan would have gone off as it was supposed by. Well, they still would have lost the war. I don't know. How could the South have won? The North blockades the South. The British Navy blockades the whole United States. Just imagine how bad cell reception would be in South Carolina if the Confederacy had won. It's bad enough now. I used to tell Scott about that all the time, and he agreed with me. You know, we travel Historicon. You get into South Carolina, it's like, what? There's like no self-service here. It's like super spotty, and it's on 95. I mean, it's gotten better every year, but Pickett's charge was supposed to happen right as Ewell's Corps was heavily presenting Culp's Cemetery Hill, but the attack was launched too early. Civil War battery tended to have 4 to 6 guns per battery. Yeah, it just doesn't seem to have a lot of cannons for the thousands of troops that were there. But that's just looking at it as an outsider, you know? Had they destroyed the Army of the Potomac at Gettysburg, the war could have been won. All Lee had to do was shift south to Washington, likely force, then to the war. Well, it's a good thing they didn't win. Yep, I said it. And no, I'm no Yankee lover. And I'm proudly from the South, but I'm not Southern. Think of that for a while. I'm proudly from the South, but I just realized something. On that top 10 list of the worst, whatever, what worst civilizations, countries throughout the world, I don't think I've seen the Confederacy in the top 10. Which I don't think that they would fall into the top 10, but I mean, it's not exactly a happy place for many people, but the Union Army gave each of the Army Corps a couple of batteries. to be just God. That's just not a lot of cannons. Well, I don't know. I mean, it just is it's not my. Maybe it is. It seems okay. Doesn't seem like. I guess cannons are really really valuable then. You know. I mean, 20 cannons is a shitload of cannons, I guess. A couple batteries would be distributed onto divisions, and then there was an artillery reserve comprising the bulk of the guns could be sent wherever the need arose. The Confederates had a similar breakdown as well. Okay. Yeah, it just doesn't, it just doesn't make 300 guns for tens of thousands of infantry. You know? Because I don't remember what the exact numbers. What is it, like 30, 40, 50,000 on a side? But then only, a couple hundred guns. It just seems kind of low on the guns. Cannon. Now, I'm no Civil War expert by any stretch of the imagination. Why? I don't wargame it. If I wargamed it, you better believe I'd know more about it. That's the beauty of wargaming, is you're learning, the historical wargaming. You're learning, well, hopefully you're learning real stuff, Just to give you an example, the Union First Corps at Gettysburg only had 5 batteries, so roughly 30 or 30. Man, it's just not a. Okay, well. It surprises me. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're the expert compared to me. It's not the perception. So it stands to reason, using logic, that American War of Independence battles would have even more infantry to cannon percentage-wise. Campaigning in North America was never conducive to dragging wheeled artillery and supply wagons around. Well, if you think about the metrics involved with a battery, you'd be surprised. It's probably a pain in the ass to carry the ammo. Massive pain in the ass to carry the ammo. I'm looking at everything from a viewpoint of the Second World War on the Eastern Front. 20 guns. What's that? Nothing. All right, let's get this. Good team of horses. So, Corps Artillery Brigade likely had over 200 horses just to move the guns. Holy smokes. Each battery had 120 horses. Holy, that's a lot of horses for a battery. Holy smokes. I don't know. what the hell that call is. Maybe the girls are running a 1-900 number service call center in the other room. Almost sounds like the sound you would buzz your phone to find it or something like that. Can't find my phone. All right. Let's get a much smaller brush that's easier to control. A small controlling brush. Artillery Brigade for the Union had about 600 horses just to move about the guns, so the numbers are quite staggering. Yeah. 3,000 horses killed it. Oh. Man, I guess they're eating horse soup there for a couple weeks after that. Hoffman Samatobin. How much water does a horse need a day? Gallons. Gallons. Oh, I didn't put the windshield in this one. Did it even come with one? It may not have come with one. It's a convertible. Well, we're not putting one in it now. It's a lot because of all the support. Each cannon limber also has an ammunition caisson, following it with just as many horses. Then there are the forges, suppliers, food, more ammo. Then all the horrors that follow the army, right? Hookers, hookers. Okay, I think this is the tail lights. You don't want to be pulled over by a cop in Nazi Germany. Odds are he's I was gonna say you don't want to get pulled over by a cop in the Third Reich. Odds are he's a Nazi. I'll be right back. Let me go get something to drink. Just a moment. No, I got commandeered to do some other stuff while I was up. Hey, Skylab, look, a fresca. I guess this is an old-timey thing that disappeared for a while. This is a great mixer, by the way. If you guys are alcoholics, I mean drinkers, it works well with a lot of stuff. All right, we still got some of this. Let's get this color. What was the name of that? Where did I get a fresca? At our grocery store. It carries them. Yeah, they're still made by Coca-Cola. Established 1966. I thought it was older than that. You don't mix my drinks, you take them straight. It's safer that way. You don't overdrink then. Well, it's easier to monitor it. That's another thing that comes with age. Man, it's a lot. I've gotten really good at like not drinking more than I should. Of course, I don't really drink, but very often. More is not better. Not always. Just doing this trim in metal. Really probably should have weathered this before I go and put the headlights on. I don't like the headlights weathered. Haven't had a drink in 4 years. You didn't miss anything. I talk about it. Yes, battery is a very complex organization. Just look at Captain Cavalier Mercer's trials and tribulations moving his Royal Horse Artillery battle from England to Waterloo. Never heard of her. I didn't know the Battle of Waterloo was on my birthday. I'm not a nappy person. I don't know, you know? I don't hate Napoleonic stuff. It's just something I didn't game. You know, when I started gaming, there's people that did play Napoleonic stuff, and they weren't very dynamic playing. The people. So just kind of never got into it. At what stage, in what war? This is a legitimate question. I guess I could probably look it up or whatever. But hey, we have experts among us. On what stage in what war did I got to be careful how I word this, British have the largest infantry fighting force? Is it World War One? Is it? I don't think it's the Napoleonic period. Would it be, during the time period of Charge of Light Brigade? Is it even World War Two? I gotta think. I gotta believe they got more people in World War One than in World War Two. Because the British, you'd say World War One. You bet it's World War One. Because the British in the Napoleonic period, isn't it like a third of their force was Portuguese? A third of their force in Portuguese. Same way that the Prussians, when the Prussian army got rebuilt, a third of their army is Landwehr, right? If I remember correctly. And what are those? The Dutch Belgians. British used a lot of mercenaries. They lost a lot more people in World War One than they did in World War Two, and I'm not saying that they didn't lose any people in World War Two, but I forget what the hell they lost in World War One. But they lost about the same amount as the U.S. did in World War Two, if I remember correctly, something like 400,000 or something like that. Brunswick, that's who I'd forgotten. Now, yeah. His memoirs are a primary source of Waterloo campaign and highly informative about the interior management of a Napoleonic battery. It's interesting if you compare, I'm going to compare World War II because I'm a World War II guy. If you compare World War II to the Napoleonic period, Waterloo is kind of like the big climax, that stopped. That's kind of stopped the whole thing. But it was after Napoleon was deposed and he came back. So that's almost like saying the defining battle of World War II in Europe would have been something like the Rhineland or something like that. It's just strange as something that's so defining happens so late in the period. I mean, ultimately, there's probably lots of the different ones, but just looking at it from the outside, from the outside, because I'm a Napoleonic outsider. It's just kind of interesting how that seems to be the perception. It'd be like the defining battle that everybody wants to play in the World War II Pacific campaign would have been like Okinawa, and that's not the case. It's just kind of a interesting kind of an observation from the outside. British used a lot of Hanoverian troops due to their royal relationships. Yeah, the British and Germans aren't natural enemies. Never really were until the 20th century. I wonder if World War One would be a more popular period to war game if the trench warfare wasn't a thing. Because myself included, I'm not interested in doing World War One because of the static nature, or the mainly static nature of the trench warfare. Just doesn't seem very appealing. It's a war game. The Air War is fascinating. Well, see here, that's just the thing. I don't think the Air War is interesting until the war is almost over with, because until you get into 1917, you don't have any albatrossing. You basically just have Moraine Saulniers and Eindeckers and is it DH2s, the pusher ones? Maybe Newport 17s came out in late 16. That's it. Everything else is like 1917 later, and that's on the backside of the war. Bloody April. April 1917. There are many theaters of World War One that are not trench static. There's Eastern Front. Well, the Eastern Front does have some. I see what you're saying. The Eastern Front does have some trenches, but Palestine, Africa, parts of the Italian Front, Newports and Albatrosses. Yeah, I think that's a good matchup. You know. I guess there's a lot more theaters in World War One that I personally find not interested in more than World War Two. World War Two, I basically just don't care about the Pacific. I'm just not interested in it. You know, I'll play Pacific games. It's just not my thing. Just like I'd play, like I don't care about Palestine, Africa. Africa's interesting only because of that one guy that, you know, whatever his name is, that run amok for basically the whole war. Um, Eastern Front, yeah, had it the freaking whooping on the Russians, man. Italian Front, I don't think there's many people that do Italian. Talk about Rocky. If I was gonna do World War One, if I had to do World War One, I would do 1914 French and Germans. You know, you don't get much of an opportunity to play French. Okay, remember I'm looking at it from a non-Napoleonic gamer. The French. You get to do fun accents when you get to play the French. Yes, they're incorrect. Doesn't matter. That's fun. They got the loud colors that their guys used to wear with the kepis. Kepis aren't going to keep any bullets off you, that's for sure. And the Pickelhaubs that the Germans had. They're all just cork. That's not stopping anything either. Sup with pups, sup with triplanes, SE5As, yeah. SE5A is an interesting looking plane. Lots called in the French Army 1914. I agree. I agree. I'm very partial to albatrosses. I just like how they look. But I prefer inline engines to. Did the Albatross have an inline engine? I guess it looks like it would have one, as opposed to a radial one. Even in World War II, I like the inline engines better than the radials. No, I'm just talking about aesthetics. Just purely aesthetics. Have I even built a model of a plane with a radial engine? I may not have. I may have never built a model of a plane with a radial engine. I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't think I have. That's not true. I had the Airfix Focke-Wulf, the A. That's probably the only one. Albatross is inline, yeah. Never built a P-47 or any of the U.S. Navy aircraft. And yeah, I don't have any. I had them hanging up in my room. I had Germans, British. That was it, I think. You know, back then nobody made Russian fighters. I might have had some of those. You know, some of the Russian fighters are really pretty. Some of those Yaks, but not a fan of the Lavochkins. I know some of the planes were okay. That's fine. I just don't, looks wise, just don't appeal to me. I may have had a fairy swordfish. That's got to have a did I have a fairy swordfish? How can I not remember? I don't know. I don't remember if I did or not. You're like the Sturmovik. Russians. Russians had a lot of really cool planes. Sturmovik was a cool looking plane that was effective. You have stuff like a PE-2, that little mosquito looking. Obviously, it wasn't anything like a mosquito. Mosquito was pretty awesome aircraft, but it had the split tail like that. Yak 9s are ones I'm thinking of that have the really beautiful camouflage schemes on them. You know. But never had a LA5 or LA7. The Lags, the Yaks, the early Yaks, the early MiGs. The early MiGs were terrible. But a lot of the Soviet aircraft had the same problem so a lot of the really early Soviet aircraft had the same problem the Japanese aircraft had, the Japanese Army aircraft. They just didn't have enough machine guns. Oh, this ain't cutting. It's a little too long. Getting some flex in it. Let's see. You know what? I wish it switched from AWI over to ACW sooner than I did. I could have had all my ACW stuff painted by now. Or you could have gotten Blue. Are your ACW Blue Moon as well? It might have pissed you off. I don't have a problem with you being upset about not painting stuff that you want to paint. I'm all for painting stuff you want to paint. Your time is valuable too. So you got no time for ugly figures. I'd say of all the things that I paint, the hardest thing for me to do and be happy with is probably headlights. Sometimes I've done some headlights that were just awesome, and some of them are just like I just don't like how they turned out. All right, somehow, all right, we got to take some desperate measures. This isn't working out as well as this should. All right, let's get some white. Come on. The Opel Blitz trucks I did, man, the headlights, I'm super happy with it. Okay, Skylab, man, thanks. Thanks for coming by. Ain't too bad. Oh yeah, Skylab was feeling on his way to recovery. Hope he's speeding through ACW. Give me the confidence and desire to finish off the EWI. Just sell them and move on. You don't want to paint those figures. You said it so many times. I believe you. I wouldn't want to either. No point in painting something that's gonna, be less than satisfactory. All right, we need a brighter color than that one. A brighter silver. It's a job for Iron Breaker. There's that mixing ball. Yes, they work in Citadel paints too. Oh, so you know what happened to me the other day, Nordic? They gave me a quote on those games, and they gave me. I asked them, "Hey, give me the breakdown of each individual game," and they had one of the games listed as a different game. So I asked them, said, "Hey, can you correct that for me?" So that we're figuring out apples and apples. Ain't a pile of shame if you don't look at it. That's right. I had a friend of mine that was building them. We are gonna do this big army together, a double Polish with Hungarian ally. So at the time, it's probably 10 years ago now, maybe a little bit longer than that. He bought some figures from a Polish company that made, Polish knights kind of thing, medieval, called Osmi, and they're beautiful figures. But they were cast in some alloy that was as hard as the X-Acto knife that you're trying to take the flash off of, and it was a nightmare. Hopefully it works out. Well, luckily I don't need to get them anytime soon. If I gave up on that close to being down majors, I want a piece of my allow me to do more majors. Yeah, sometimes you just got to start over, and getting them all done is a start over. So, yeah. Well, I applaud you for trying to get them, for knocking them out instead of just continue buying more shit and not doing anything with it, which is what most people do. It feels good to knock stuff out. I don't know where the hell the window went to that. I don't think it had one. Well, it's too late now. I'm not going to unglue the thing to put it back in. Whatever you do, don't use the windshield wiper, so it'll end up hitting the driver right in the face. All right. Roof color. I'm going to do the same thing I did with the Opel Blitz. Yeah, it's good to accomplish stuff. What's this? Bronze? Yeah, we don't need that. Not right now, we don't. Okay. I'm not going to use this straight. We're going to water this down. Oh shit, where'd I get this metallic from? Is it this? This messy beast? Let's get these out of here. Yeah, this is what we have. Your favorite sound. You gotta make sure they're dry or you end up pulling paint off of stuff. All right. Your favorite sound of hand cleansing ASMR. King of the Nerd Burglars. Count of the Nerd Burglars. What's the most nerd burglary show out there? Would you consider Big Bang Theory nerd burglary? I tried to watch it. Futurama. God, I want to see. I've seen only one episode of it. I'm not a fan of that show, but I would think that it might be offensive to people that are nerd burglary. Bender Rodriguez, probably one of the greatest characters ever invented. Is he like a robot or something like that? I can't say that I'm a fan of any of the cartoon shows. Don't watch any of them. Just not my thing. Now, if they look better, I'd probably watch it. So my brother is a huge fan of South Park, and I've tried to watch it and just can't get into it. Bender. He's on a bender. The greatest character ever made. Wow, that's a statement. The greatest character ever made. Of course, if somebody said, "Well, what do you think the best character ever made?" I don't know. I may have to think about that for a while and still probably come up with argue with myself. I don't know. What other characters would be a contender for greatest character ever made? Man, I tried watching Archer. It's not for me. Sorry. I'm not poo pooing somebody because they like it. People have different reasons to watch different things. It's just not for me. I watched like 3 or 4 episodes of it. I'm like, this isn't going anywhere. So, we're gonna have to let this dry just a little bit. All right, I'm gonna let this dry a little bit. Well, overnight, and I'm gonna call it a night because it's almost 10:30 here. And I gotta get up early. But as always, thanks for stopping by, folks. We've got these two cars coming up, and obviously we're gonna lighten this up quite a bit.